Today, we're delving into the shooting of Stephen Waldorf, a case that profoundly impacted police procedures in the UK. This incident occurred in 1983 when Waldorf was shot by police after being misidentified as an armed criminal. Can you describe the background leading up to this tragic event? What circumstances surrounded the police's mistaken identity of Waldorf?
Certainly. The context begins with the police's pursuit of David Martin, a violent criminal who had previously escaped custody, often while engaging in armed robberies. On the day of the shooting, officers were tailing Martin's girlfriend as they suspected she may lead them to him. When she entered a car with Waldorf, the police mistakenly believed he was Martin based on his physical resemblance.
That leads us to the crucial moment of the shooting. How did the series of decisions made by the officers contribute to this outcome?
The lead officer, Detective Constable Finch, was the only one who had previously encountered Martin. Upon getting a visual ID on Waldorf, Finch believed he was recognized, and, thinking Waldorf was reaching for a weapon, he fired at the car. The subsequent confusion led two other officers to open fire, resulting in a total of 14 shots being fired, 5 of which hit Waldorf.
The immediate aftermath was shocking. What were the initial reactions from police and the public following this incident?
The police issued a public apology soon after the shooting, and there was a strong outcry from the public and media questioning the use of excessive force. The inconsistency in police training for armed response officers was heavily scrutinized, prompting discussions in Parliament regarding necessary reforms.
Several investigations followed. Can you elaborate on the inquiries conducted into the actions of the officers involved?
The Metropolitan Police's internal investigation quickly began, led by Detective Chief Superintendent Neil Dickens. The investigation faced heavy media coverage, and the officers involved were suspended during this phase. Ultimately, Finch and Jardine were charged with attempted murder, but were acquitted, raising further concerns regarding accountability in policing.
Was there a shift in police policy or training as a result of this incident? What were the key changes introduced?
Yes, this incident forced a significant overhaul in firearms training and authorizations. New guidelines were issued that elevated the rank needed to authorize police firearms deployment and focused on better psychological evaluations and training for armed officers. The esteemed Dear Report also emphasized ongoing education for firearms officers, aiming to ensure similar mistakes wouldn't happen again.
It's interesting how one incident can lead to widespread change in policy. Were there any long-term impacts on public perception of police armed response following Waldorf's shooting?
Absolutely. The shooting intensified public scrutiny of armed policing, and incidents of police shootings became inherently controversial thereafter. Critics expressed concerns over police conduct and oversight. Furthermore, armed forces in the UK saw a significant drop in the number of authorized firearms officers as a result, as many officers preferred to relinquish their firearm authorizations.
In the context of police actions, how does this shooting compare to other cases of mistaken identity in policing history?
Waldorf's case is often cited alongside other notable incidents that highlight the systemic deficiencies in police firearms protocols. For example, cases like the shooting of Jean-Charles de Menezes showed that issues outlined in the Dear Report were still prevalent, leading to continued calls for comprehensive reforms.
Looking back, how has Waldorf's case been commemorated or represented in media and popular culture?
The incident has been the subject of documentaries and dramatizations. Programs and films, such as the 1994 TV film Open Fire, have portrayed the events, discussing both Waldorf's experience and Martin's criminal history. Waldorf himself participated in these portrayals to ensure accurate representation and raise awareness about the implications of police actions.
As we conclude, what remain the critical lessons or insights drawn from the Waldorf shooting that continue to resonate today?
The Waldorf shooting emphasizes the vital importance of proper training and accountability among armed police officers. It shows that a lack of restraint and the potential for misidentification can lead to tragic outcomes, thus necessitating ongoing vigilance and reform in policing practices.